Welcome, everyone, to episode number 77 of Talking Kentucky. My name is Coleman Scott. Caden Holmes is camping in the Great Smoky Mountains tonight, and that's why he is not on the show. And that's why I'm joined by my football friend from College Sportscast, Brad Harvey, tonight, who has been on many a times for regular Talking Kentucky episodes and also a lot this season for Kentucky football post games, many of which have been sad. But Brad, hopefully the last two are going to be good. Brad, thanks for coming on. How you doing tonight?
I'm good, man. How are you, man?
Well, I'm doing all right. It's International Day for Tolerance today, according to nationaltodayholidays.com. I'm not going to participate in that tonight.
I'm not events good with
of Kentucky athletics. But I'm not good with tolerance either. So
I'm not good with tolerance.
In any capacity.
Yeah,
I'm not.
That's
not
not
good
my
with tolerance. It's have a party with your bear day. I don't know if that means like an actual bear or like a teddy bear. I don't have either of those, so I probably can't participate in that one either.
Hopefully, it's just a teddy bear.
Hopefully, it is just a teddy bear.
Hopefully, it's just a teddy bear.
I feel like that would be less dangerous than a real bear. It's also National Clarinet Day. Also less dangerous than a real bear, but not by much, because clarinet is really, it's not the best instrument. The nickname's the agony stick, Brad. We don't like clarinets around here. We're trumpet players. But I guess you're not a trumpet player. Did you play? I don't think I've ever talked to you about this. Did you play anything in high school, Brad? Are you a former musician?
No, I was actually in chorus, and I was a singer.
Okay, well there you go. Well, yeah. Hey, your niece is a percussionist. Is that right?
No, I didn't play an instrument.
At UK, right? Is she a grad student at UK?
She
gotcha. Is. Well, nice. Yeah. So you got some musical.
She's a grad student now. Yes.
You got some musicality going on in the family over there.
She's really good. She was in the UK marching band in like 2018, something like that. 2017, 2018, I think.
I feel like there's a lot of musicians and specifically trumpet players in Kentucky media. I mean, you've got me and Caden for one. You've got Matt Jones is a former trumpet player. Adam Webb, former trumpet player. I mean, Tim Brentstetter, not a former trumpet player, but he did play a little guitar. Well, he does play a little guitar and he sings. And then Drew Franklin, former trombone player. So you got a lot of brass players here. So Claude Hare says, "Come on, man, show some respect to Squidward." I really didn't know what that meant at first, but now I understand that I did just talk about clarinet and Squidward played clarinet. Okay, so that makes more sense there. I'm glad Claude's in the comments. I wanted to say that first of all. I feel like Brad, you weren't on our post game show the other night, but I feel like on our post game we may have made Claude a little bit upset the other night. I feel like he's on the bandwagon more of optimistic Kentucky fans right now, which I'm not on, and I feel like he got a little upset with us, but that's okay. I'm glad to see you back, Clyde.
Well, so I was on for a little while, but I done my own little Facebook take, Facebook Live take, and I jumped off to do that. But I was on with you guys for the first 10, 15 minutes, something like that.
That's right. I remember seeing you down in the comments.
I seen the gist of it. I didn't see how it finished up. I know that you guys were pretty upset about the way it ended, and I was too. I'm not going to say that I wasn't. So,
Josh Hard in the comments saying, "What's up, fellers? Good to see Josh in the comments as well. We got a lot of people watching right now. So let us know you're here. Make a comment, and yeah. So let us know you're here. And I guess we'll go ahead and just get into it, Brad, since we're already talking about it. The Kentucky-Kansas game. Now that I've had time to take a step back and look at things, I'm not saying that I'm not upset, because I am upset. But I can see both sides. And just let me say this. I understand that Kentucky fans, are optimistic in that everybody sort of thought we were going to go into this game and get blown out, right? We have no big guys. You got Hunter Dickinson plays for Kansas. Got the 7'2" guy's probably going to be National Player of the Year. Thought about coming to Kentucky, right? But instead he goes to Kansas because he got the chicken fingers, or Cal got the chicken fingers at Jeff Ruby's or something like that. Maybe that is the reason. Maybe it's not the
That's
reason. I don't know.
ridiculous.
But for the fact that we were able to go in there and compete with Kansas and be up by 14 at one point and really should have won the game at the end, I can see where people are optimistic about that, especially this being only the third game. But Brad, that is exactly why I'm upset. We were up 14, and when you're up 14, I don't care. You should win the game. When you're up 14 points, I don't care who you're playing. Kentucky was the better team all night long. And Brad, I don't know what you think about this, but I think it's not even close. I think Kentucky had more talent on the floor, maybe less experience, but I think Kentucky had more talent on the floor than Kansas. And that's John Calipari's kind of basketball. And we've heard for years leading up to this year, getting DJ Wagner, Justin Edwards, these guys in there, that this is Cal's kind of team. They're going to play, I'm a better athlete than you. I'm bigger, I'm faster, I'm stronger than you. And we still weren't able to win. And that's just frustrating because we constantly hear about, oh, wait till next year. Wait till Cal gets his guys in here. Well, Cal's guys are finally in here, and we're up by 14, and we still can't close out the game at the end.
Yeah, my Ron John Surf Shop, Clyde. Yeah, this is a lit store. Yeah. Honestly, it's really cool. I used to live down there. So anyway, but to what you're talking about, I mean, all of it is a yes, 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 and yes, and yes. I mean, every bit of it for me, because not only did we have a 14-point lead in the second half, we had a 6-point lead with 2.5 or 3 minutes to go. And did we play our best? I don't think we did. And we still was that far ahead of the number one ranked team, Kansas, when they had 5 guys who were 20 and 10. They had one guy that had a triple double. 12, 10, and 10.
They had one dude that went 5 for 5 from 3. That was a terrible shooter.
Right. And he had 23 points and was 5 for 5, and he never shoots. It's not that he's a bad shooter. He just doesn't shoot like that. And he was just going AWOL against us. I mean, just going off against us. Okay. Which doesn't.
Hunter Dickinson gets a double-double, which is, that's not a surprise.
20,
but then,
20.
You talk about us not playing well, right? Antonio Reeves didn't shoot well. If you would have told me, I don't remember what his numbers were.
I don't think we played as well as we could have, even without the bigs, and yet we still had a 14-point lead and a 6-point lead with 2.5, 3 minutes to go. My issue is this. This is Kentucky basketball. I don't know if you guys ever remember that show, but there was a show on for years and years called This is Kentucky Basketball. And I'm telling you this because Kentucky basketball is supposed to be the mecca of college basketball. You can't be that when you are losing those kinds of games.
And I appreciate you saying that, Brad, because that's exactly what I'm saying. Like, I believe, now nobody, fact check me on that. I could be wrong, and then somebody will yell at me, but I believe we were 1-6 in the Champions Classic in the past 7 years.
7 years. We are.
And if y'all are okay with that, that's fine. I'm not okay with that. When you're the winningest program in college basketball, you can't do that.
My dad's birthday was 3 days ago. And I went last night to have dinner with my dad. My sister was there. My grandmother was there. And he's there. We're all a bunch of Kentucky fans. Okay. So, and everybody knows that I'm doing sports stuff now and everything. So as soon as I walk in, they want to know how I felt about the game, and dad and my sister and everybody's like, well, we played pretty good and blah blah blah. And I'm just like, really, guys? Y'all like y'all are not upset that we couldn't close that game out? And they're like, well, Brad, we looked better than we have the last 3 years. And that's true.
But that's not the standard.
That is true, though. We did look better than what we have the last 3 or 4 years. I will give you that. We did. Right. This team has the talent. This team has an overload of talent to where we have 3 or 4 players that don't even play good. And we are leading against the number 1 team in the country and should win the game.
And that is sort of the optimistic outlook, is saying, okay, our 2 dogs, per se, DJ Wagner and Justin Edwards, played terribly, went 1 for 18 from the field.
Out to lunch. I mean, they were horrendous.
Yeah, and those are supposed to be our dudes, right? And then, Reeves doesn't play well.
Reeves is 7 for 25 from the floor.
Is that right? Is that what he was, 7 for 25?
7 of 25. He was 3 of 17 from behind the three-point line.
Yeah.
He literally shot the ball 17 times from behind the three-point line. And I'm telling you guys, that's not the best of Antonio Reeves. I know he scored 24 points, but that's not the best of Antonio Reeves.
No, he had an off night shooting, and the difference, and this is another,
the best of Wagner or Edwards. I mean, they were out to lunch.
This is another, I guess, reason that I'm optimistic. I didn't really even intend to be this optimistic, Brad. You're bringing up some stats that are making me actually more optimistic, funny enough. Antonio Reeves was like the only guy on our team that could shoot last year, right? And then in the second round of the NCAA tournament, we go up against Kansas State. He goes, 0 for 14 or 1 for 15, something terrible like that.
1 for 14 or something like that, yeah.
And what happens when that happens? We lose. This year, it's different because we got multiple shooters, right? We got Reed Shepherd. We got Rob Dillingham. Rob Dillingham was out there doing his best Tayshaun Prince impersonation, shooting, 4 in a row, right? Yeah. So
in a 2-minute stretch, in 2 minutes, he literally lit up 4 3-pointers, and they go to a TV timeout and come back, and Dillingham's sitting on the bench.
And he's on the bench. Well, I remember that because I was talking to Caden on the phone when that happened.
And before that, Reed Shepherd came in, had 4 steals, hit 2 3-pointers, had a TV timeout, come back out, Reed Shepherd sitting on the bench.
And now you're getting into why I'm really not optimistic about the rest of the year, because that is on Cal. Everybody says, well, just wait till March, guys. Well, guess what? This isn't about the team developing and the team becoming more mature. That's on Cal. Cal benched those guys. So is Cal the one that needs to mature? No. Well, I mean, yes, but no. It doesn't have anything to do with the team.
It would be different if these guys had been in the game for 8 or 9 minutes and they went on this run and then they were tired. Reed Shepherd literally played like 3 or 4 minutes and had 4 steals and 2 3-pointers, and is the whole spark. We were down 11-3 when he come in early in the game.
Yep.
And it was the whole reason that we got back in the game and took the lead. And then Dillingham took it from there. And in 2 minutes, literally in 2 minutes, he gets 4 3-pointers and he takes him out. And then after that, Adu Thiero starts grabbing rebounds, getting put back, stuffing it in.
Dude,
I mean,
did you see that?
All over the place, and I'll be darned.
Did you see that putback dunk that he had, that Thiero had?
And as soon as that second putback dunk and stuff, there was a timeout, if a foul or something, and Cal takes him out.
Yep, and And I'm sick. I'm sick of. I mean, it makes absolutely no sense. I'm going to take the guy that just made 5 threes in a row, and I'm going to sit him on the bench. That in no world does that make sense. Brad, you could have coached the game, and I genuinely think if you or I were coaching that game, we would have won because we would have
I
played the
mean,
right guys. It's not
I
rocket
don't,
science.
don't get it. I really don't get it. I
Mike
mean,
Dowd
and
says
there's other things too. Okay, like
Mike Dowd says here in the comments, he says Dillingham needs to start at point guard instead of Wagner. Caden would love you right now, Mike, because Caden has been preaching this since this summer in Toronto. And I'm starting to agree with him because, I mean, Dillingham is putting
I
points
will
on
get
the
to the
now.
whole Dillingham Wagner thing and what I think. I mean,
Right.
Wagner's got 40 years of basketball history, his family, his ties
Oh,
behind
he
him.
does. And listen, I understand why that's never going to happen. I fully acknowledge that John Calipari will never start Rob Dillingham at point guard over DJ Wagner. I understand that that's not going to happen. Don't get me wrong. But I'm saying that the reason that it's not going to happen is a problem. It's because of the ties that Cal has with Wagner and because he's a McDonald's All-American. It's not because he's a better basketball player right now. Now, he could have more potential. He could be a higher NBA draft
he has
pick.
more hype and a little bit more expectations than Dillingham does as well right now. And I'm
Yeah.
not saying that can't change, but so I don't have a problem with Dillingham coming off the bench. I don't have a problem with Shepard coming off the bench.
I think Shepard coming off the bench is fine. I mean, I think
I
he's the
just
definition of
have
a
a
six man.
problem with them only playing 15 or 16 minutes a game.
Yes.
When they are sparking your team to come from behind and to get a 14-point lead against the number one team in the country, you can't let them only play 15, 16 minutes a game. Now I will fully admit that Dillingham got in foul trouble. And part of the reason why he didn't play quite as few minutes the other day was because of the foul trouble. So I will say that. But there are other things. At the end of the first half, we have the ball. Shot clock is off, like 22 seconds. We're up 10, and we go down and put up a shot with about 8-9 seconds to go, and they come down and get it to Dickinson, and he buries a 3-pointer right before halftime.
Yeah.
If you're a coach, I've been a coach, okay? Not at that level, but if you are a coach, that simply cannot happen.
Nope.
That can't happen.
And that's
if
what's
you
frustrating.
The ball with and you run it down to 2 seconds and put up a shot, and you don't give them a chance to score. The half is over. You do not give them a chance to score. And
That
if you're the
three
coach,
that
you
Dickinson
call the
had,
timeout and you make sure your guys know this is what we're doing. You can't do this.
that three that Dickinson had was the most frustrating thing I've ever seen. It reminded me of the big guy from Vanderbilt last year. Remember when the tall kid from Vanderbilt hit that three and Rupp at last year? I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of a random thing to bring up, but that's what it reminded me of. It's like, man,
Yeah.
it's just like Kentucky football giving up points at the end of the half. It's like Kentucky athletics.
Josh Hart is right. He's got it right there. He says, it hurt. It's a 5-point turnaround. It's exactly. And if we hit a 3, it's a possible 6-point turnaround. You know
Thomas
what I mean?
Thomas is in the comments here. He says, "Hey guys, I think he was another one that we kind of made upset a little bit with our negativity the other night.
Okay.
Glad to see you back in the comments. So, that's great. So, we're all one big family here.
Those are some things. And then at the end of the game, and I want to bring this up too. We had the ball with 19.6 seconds left, and we're down 3.
Yeah.
They're gonna guard us. They're not gonna foul. They're going to guard us. And we go down and we put up a shot with about 7 seconds to go. But what we do is this: we go down and we pass it around like 3 or 4 times, and we're looking for a 3-pointer. And we throw up, I mean, a prayer, to be honest with you, with 7 seconds to go. Okay.
Remind me
And
that.
that's on
Do you
that's on
remember? Well,
Shepherd. The
it's on
shot's on
Shepherd.
Shepherd, but he's a freshman, and I'll forgive him the way he played. I'll forgive him for that shot. What I don't forgive is a 40-year head coach who doesn't
not drawn up a play,
who doesn't know how to manage the clock at the end of a game.
Yep.
I'm sorry, but there is no coach in this country that won't tell you in that situation, you go down the floor, you look to drive and get the quickest 2 that you can find.
Yep.
And then you make them take the ball out and foul, and the game goes on. You make them hit free throws because the next time down, you might not need a 3 to tie it. A 3 might win the game, or a 2 is going to tie it. Because if they don't hit their free throws, you get the 2, then you foul, then you extend the game, you make them hit free throws. That is the only way that game should have ended. And I'm sorry, that's I mean, what I can't forgive is a guy who's been a coach for 40 years.
Yep.
Who doesn't know that.
You're exactly right. And Mike, it says here in the comments, should have taken a quick 2, then called timeout if don't get a steal foul. And even the commentators were talking about that. And I was saying that. I was like, all right, get a quick 2 here. There's what, 18, 19 seconds left in the game? It's like, yeah, just go get a quick 2. I mean, that's like basketball 101. And then Cal doesn't do it. So I'm going to say that I won't name any names, but I got a text from a friend. It wasn't Caden. I got a text from a friend with about 3 minutes left in the game. We were up like 5 or something like that. And he said, this is the point where Cal F's it up. And I thought, yep, we're going to lose this game. And I think we were all thinking that. We're up 5 with 3 minutes left. And we're all thinking, how are we going to screw this up? And we screwed it up. So, I mean, it's no surprise to me, really.
That's the things that I'm frustrated with. It doesn't have anything to do with the players, don't have anything to do with the team, doesn't have anything to do with the talent. There were many of things. I mean, Dillingham looked amazing in the first half. Shepherd played really, really well. And I mean, against the best team in the country. So you know he can do it against anybody. If he can do it against Kansas, he can do it against anybody. All right. I thought Adu Thiero played the best game that he's ever played in a Wildcat uniform.
Yes, I absolutely think that. And I talked to Caden about that already. And Josh says this isn't the first time he's done this. That's why it's so frustrating. You're exactly right, Josh. And that is why that's the biggest reason that I'm frustrated is because this type of stuff that Brad and I are talking about right now does not change between now and March. It's just how Cal is. And he will not change. And that's what most of the fan base is so sick of at this point.
But those are things that's the reason why Tom Izzo, who we had a lead on last year, late in the game in the Champions Classic, who called some timeouts and set up some plays and beat our hind end. And then this year we have a lead on Kansas. Those late game situations are the reason why we don't win a lot of those games. And I'm fixing to give you a stat that,
alrighty,
as a Kentucky fan, there's not a Kentucky fan alive that should be okay with. Okay?
Oh, I hear you. Yep.
Since 2019, the 1920 season, which was the COVID year, they got stopped. Okay. since the beginning of that season, Kentucky is 7-17 against top 25
top
opponents.
25 teams. Yep. And Caden and I are a little
7-17, guys.
Caden and I are a little crazy when it comes to stuff like this, but I don't think it's too much of a stretch. We were talking about how we play. I think we play Stony Brook next, right? Like, how do you lose?
I don't even know. I don't even know what Stonehill is.
Oh, that's right. It's Stonehill. It's not Stony Brook. It's Stonehill, which I didn't know was a school. I'd never heard of that before. But
I didn't either. My dad even said last night. He said, "Where in the hell is Stonehill?"
It's Stonehill.
I have no idea.
I don't know what their mascot is. I don't know where they are. But these small teams that we play, I understand that we have to, play those games and things like that. But it is really hard to care about Stonehill when you just lose to Kansas. Caden and I said we just want to play Power 5, top 25 teams all year long.
I mean, we're a 31-point favorite tomorrow night.
Exactly. And we'll beat them. Okay, so listen, and we've got the whole divide in the fan base right here. We got optimism and we got pessimism, and Clyde is of the optimistic viewpoint here. He says losing to Kansas is not the end of the season, y'all. We got plenty of games ahead to win. You're absolutely right, Clyde, and you have a right and a reason to be optimistic, and I identify with that. But that doesn't take away with the fact that this is really frustrating, and we think that. I'm just going to go ahead and say I think this loss is on John Calipari. I don't know what you think, Brad, but I think that we lost this game because of coaching.
I mean, we made some inexperienced mistakes. We had a few turnovers late and we didn't have very many turnovers, but we did have a few really late. And beyond that, we were, head hunting for a 3. And I think that's the sign of a young team as well. But Calipari has to call a timeout and make sure his team's not doing that in that situation.
Because that's called coaching.
Yeah.
Which is something we haven't seen a lot.
You have to call a timeout and make sure your team knows what to do.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And, guys, what we'll go ahead and do is we'll open up the phones here. We want to hear from you. After that, we're going to talk a little football, which is not much more optimistic, to be honest with you. But we're going to talk about it anyway. And we're going to talk about some Jimbo Fisher money and things like that, too. But we'll go ahead.
I'd like to have some Jimbo Fisher money. That'd be nice.
Oh, listen, I think he can cut some back. What did Ed Orgeron say when he got fired? He's got enough money to buy a cheeseburger. I think he does. So 502-234-1504. Give us a shout. We'd love to hear from you. It's okay if you disagree with us. We just want to hear your opinion. We got Tim Brandstetter, the famous Tim Brandstetter, in the comments here saying, I honestly think if you leave Shepard in with 2 fouls in the first half, we're up 15 at the break. I understand sitting a starter who averages 30 minutes, but Reed is getting 15. We said the exact same thing earlier in the show, Tim. He's not going to foul out. He finished with like 3 fouls. Then you make matters worse and pull him in the second for 1 turnover. Yeah, that's the thing that is so frustrating about Cal is he pulled these guys that are the basketball Benny guys, right? They make one mistake, he pulls them out of the game. And I think we're getting a call here. I think this is Josh Hart. You're on with Talkin Kentucky. Who's this? Is this Josh Hart?
Yeah. Hey, what's going on?
What's up, Josh? How you doing?
Pretty good, I guess. Can't complain.
Well, I could complain about some Kentucky athletics, but I think other than that, we're good.
People's got to understand, we're not. Me, you, Brad, Caden. We're not mad at the team
we're not
any particular player. We are upset with Calipari.
Yeah, that's right. You're exactly right. And people don't get that. We're not down on the team. And people saying that we're not true fans.
They're going to be just fine. But we should have won that game. I'm with you. When I was up, we were up 5 or 6 or whatever it was with that time to go. I looked at my mom and I told her, I said, we're going to lose this game. And she said, "You're up 6 points." I'm like, "But you don't understand." It just falls apart at the end.
Right.
And I tell you, the biggest.
It's a shame, though, Josh.
That I think the real main reason we lost, we had a 4-shot in. But do you remember that little feller for Kansas was bringing the ball up? Little short dude. For some reason, I guess, the gods decided to let him bust back-to-back threes. He hadn't hit crap all game.
No.
But for some reason, he busted 2 threes, and that broke our backs.
And that always happens.
Recover from them back-to-back threes.
That always happens. That usually happens in Rupp, to be honest with you. But there's always some player on the other team that just goes off and becomes Steph Curry for no apparent reason.
And Reeves couldn't buy a
every
basket.
year. Yeah, and Reeves couldn't buy a basket. It gets exactly right.
Reeves couldn't buy a basket.
And another thing that I'm really aggravated about Calipari, and I know we got a bunch of freshmen, but the reason Reed Shepherd got sit down is because he turned the ball over. Right at the beginning of the second half, he made a silly play. He turned the ball over. And what does Cal do? He sits him.
Exactly.
Sits him on the bench for God forever. Even the announcer, Jay Billis, which I do not like. He's a Dookie.
Duke Billis.
He sucks. But he was like, where's Shepherd at? He even said, "Where's Shepherd at?" And here he was, time riding. And you're like, why Calipari sit him over one turnover? I don't get it. I don't understand.
Well, and
you set down one of the hottest players going. And then, Dillingham couldn't stay out of foul trouble. And I'm like, damn, man, they were our 2 biggest players.
Well, Dillingham picked up a couple of really senseless fouls.
Well, yeah, Dillingham did pick up some senseless fouls, but the biggest criticism of Rob Dillingham is his inconsistency or his sort of out of control play with things like that. I understand that, but when he is producing the offense that he's producing, and when he is keeping us in the game, I think you can't sit him. You got to take that risk and you got to keep him out there and until DJ Wagner and Edwards play better. Now, if DJ Wagner and Edwards start going off offensively more, I understand sitting Dillingham, but that was not happening the other night, and I think you got to keep Dillingham in.
Who was 1 for something? 1 for 14? Was that?
Yeah, that was Edwards, I think.
He had a horrible game.
Edwards and Dillingham combined.
I don't know why, but I mean, not knocking the kid, he just had a bad game.
Well, Edwards and Dillingham combined for one for 18. I do know that. So I can't remember who got the basket, if it was DJ or Justin.
Wagner. He hit a layup finally. One of them.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, it was DJ.
At that, we were 9 of something from 3-point land. 9 of 18.
Yep.
Yeah, 9 of 18 from 3-point land, and then in the second half, I think we hit three threes.
Yeah, and
we were 3 of 20 something.
And a stat popped up on the ESPN broadcast at halftime that I believe that was the most 3-pointers Kentucky had hit in a half in a decade, which is kind of surprising, to be honest with you.
But that like Brad said, and I commented, that was a huge swing of momentum for Kansas too. If we go down and say we lay it up with 1 second left, Kansas inbounds the ball, we're up 12 at the half.
Instead of 7.
Who knows what would have happened?
Instead of 7.
But, you cannot – I don't understand Calipari's train of thought when he shuts down people for a turnover for 5 and 6 and 7 minutes.
And that –
how is that gonna develop a player? All that does is make you bitter at the coach.
It's not –
you want to leave.
It's not developing players, and – that is why I think all these sharpshooters that come to Kentucky, like CJ Frederick, go cold because they start to get timid and they start to get in their own head. And that's why we miss free throws historically.
Dante Allen done the same thing.
Dante Allen did the same thing. And you could disagree with that. That could not be true, but that certainly seems to be the case.
We missed, I don't know how many, we missed at least 8 free throws the other night.
That makes a difference in the game. I mean, that absolutely makes a difference.
I know that. What's the kid we got from West
Trey Mitchell.
Trey Mitchell.
Yeah,
he missed like 3 or 4 towards the end, and I was sick. I was like, oh my god, how would
he did?
You know,
he was 3 of 7,
but I think I can hit free throws.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I mean, I could bank it and make it in or something.
I know, just hit the square. But well, you got anything else before we let you go, Josh?
Oh yeah, we had some big time recruit commitments the last couple of days in football.
We have, yeah.
Marcus Nave, he was supposed to go to Ohio State. He turned around and committed to us. He's a three-star outside linebacker that's coming to us. And then Jason Patterson, he's a running back. He's also a three-star athlete, flipped from Cincinnati to Kentucky. So that was some couple key pickups this week for our football team.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Stoops and Vince keep killing it on the recruiting front for sure. There's no doubt about that. Now we just need to keep those guys, and we need to win with those guys.
And by the way, somebody needs to educate Hunter Dickerson about who's got the most wins in his program in college basketball.
I'm glad you brought that up.
That clown doesn't know what he's talking about. It's the University of Kentucky because, Kansas ought to have national titles and everything stripped for dirty as they are. But anyways.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, he don't know what he's talking about.
You're exactly
we don't have a very
right.
big lead, and if we keep losing to Kansas, it won't last long.
Well, you're right, Brad. It won't last long. But I wasn't even worried when they surpassed us for the winningest program last year, because I think the whole fan base as a whole was just kind of like, well, they're just going to get wins taken away after this year because of some NCAA violation.
I think we only had a 6-game lead before the season started, and now they've beat us. So
and that is another reason why I'm so frustrated, because I mean, Kentucky and Kansas are neck and neck trading off for the winningest program, and then you lose to them. But you're exactly right, Josh. We are the winningest program in the history.
One last thing, and I'll let you go.
Yeah,
I'm just glad we didn't get Dickerson. I'm glad he went to Kansas. He's a punk.
It was a blessing in disguise. It was I wanted to beat them so bad, because when he was complaining to the refs, he really is. He really is. I mean, like, he's 7'2" and he's guarding like, Adu Fierro, and he's complaining about not getting calls. Well, dude, you're a giant. Of course you're not going to get the calls. And
that dude was over the back
every
times.
Yes,
every trip down the floor.
He was over Fierro's back and other players' backs from Kentucky, constantly bumping them in the head and tapping the ball.
Every trip down the floor.
The other night, they just let him do whatever he wanted. I remember one time they threw the ball, and he pushed the Kentucky player, literally pushed him. And Jay Billis, which again I do not like, he said, "How do you not call that foul?"
Yep, I know. And
he had one foul the whole night.
Yeah, it's certainly frustrating, and it seems like that's always the case with the refs when Kentucky plays in these big games. But Josh, man, thanks for calling in and watching as always. We really appreciate it.
Oh yeah. Hey, by the way, that little sticker, that Kentucky sticker I put on the back of my Jeep.
I saw that
sticker because I wash my vehicle through a car wash here in Paintsville. It's a automated wash, and I pay like $30 a month for unlimited washes. And
it's a good deal.
And it's hanging on, man. It don't fade. The brushes it's a nice little sticker, so it's pretty cool.
That's a quality sticker. See, that's why everybody needs to subscribe to our Patreon, because you get the sticker and it stays on in the car wash on Josh's right. Jeep. So well, that's awesome. So thanks for calling in, man. We appreciate it.
All right, guys, have a great night. Go Cats.
Go Cats. Go Cats. But man, I actually don't hate Jay Billis, Tim. I might be in the minority on that.
Actually,
I don't think he's as much of a Kentucky hater as people think he is.
I kind of like Billis. I mean, to be honest, even though he is a Dookie, there's not many of them that I do like, but I do kind of like Jay Billis.
I think he's very objective. I don't think he really has a bias. But anybody else that wants to call in, 502-234-1504.
Y'all were talking about recruiting this week as well. We've also got Travis Perry from Western Kentucky, Lyon County.
That's right.
Who is the all-time leading scorer in high school basketball for the state of Kentucky. And he has a year to go.
A year to go.
He's going to be over 5,000 points scored if he doesn't get hurt.
Yep.
We also got Jaden Quaintance. He is a 16-year-old who has reclassified to the 2024 class. And he is not eligible for the NBA draft until 2026. So what that means is, as a Kentucky fan, if he stays and doesn't transfer, we could have him for 2 years.
Which would be huge.
And he's a 6'9", almost 6'10", 230-pound, just power player. I mean, he's a player that we haven't had since like maybe Julius Randle or somebody. I mean, he's a power player in the middle.
Yeah.
He's not a center. He's a power forward that just has a power game and developing. He's only 16. He's developing his outside, but he's doing great with it. And this kid could be special for 2 years at Kentucky.
Hey, Jeremy Kimball, with what I would consider the comment of the day here. He's saying, I'd rather listen to Jay Billis that went to Duke than I would Matt Jones that went to Duke. That's a good comment. That is a good comment.
I agree
well
with you.
Done.
100%, Jeremy.
Well done there. Absolutely. Hey, Brad, real quick, kind of before because I know you got your own show, coming up here, which everybody needs to check out Brad's podcast if you haven't heard of it. College Sportscast.
I'm going to be on at 8:00 Central Time with the College Sportscast Game Day Pick'ems.
College Sportscast. Go check them out after this. But Brad, we've got South Carolina this weekend, and then we go to Louisville on the football side of things. And I really think, that if you win these two games, you're right at what most people thought you would be this year, which is 8-4. I mean, I feel like
that's where I had
the fan base
I had us 8-4.
Most of the fan base thinks that we are sort of in this catastrophic place, but we're not. I mean, the best season of my lifetime was 9-3, and 8-4 is still on the table. So things are never as good as they seem, but they're also not as bad as they seem. And Brad, how are you feeling about these last two games coming up here?
Well, I mean, guys, so for me, a couple of things. I mean, how do we rebound off of another devastating loss to Alabama? Because if you pay attention to what Alabama does to teams, a lot of times when they beat somebody, they beat them twice because the next week they seem to still be in a lag and they lose the next game. So that's going to be a main thing that I'm going to pay attention to is how we come out. Do we still seem to be in a funk, getting beat as bad as we did, by Alabama last week? The next thing is our defense.
Yeah,
because their defense is not good, and we should put up some points against them. It is, down there at their place. It's a road game. It's going to be they're going to be up for it. They have a great environment down there, so it's going to be a tough place to play. But Spencer Rattler can, if we play that, just send 3 or send 4 like we did last week and drop 7 or 8 and zone, Spencer Rattler can pick us apart. He is a really, really good quarterback. I don't like to say that, but he
Yep.
is. Okay.
He
Now,
is, and Freddie
what I'm
Maggard
going
was
to tell
mentioning
you
the
is
other
if we
day.
don't pressure him and get to him, because they have a terrible offensive line. If we don't
They
pressure
really do.
him
Yeah.
and get to him, that's where we win this game. First,
Absolutely.
we got to shake off the Alabama loss, and second is we got to come after and play aggressive defense. That's how we win this game against South Carolina. Plain and simple.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And Jeremy Kimball in the comments here says, does anyone actually believe we'll beat Louisville? I think they have more incentive to beat us just because they already know we're going to destroy them at basketball.
Yes,
I don't know.
I actually believe that we're going to beat Louisville. I really do.
I mean, I think we're going to beat Louisville just because it's Louisville and we always do.
Listen, Louisville got trounced by a 2 or 3-7 Pittsburgh team.
Pittsburgh, right? Yeah.
They almost lost to a 2-7 Virginia team last week. Had to score a late touchdown to win that. I mean, they're it's just not all that impressive to me. I'm sorry. They beat a decent Notre Dame team, but Notre Dame's not great this year.
Yeah.
And outside of that, I mean, their loss and then this Virginia game, it's not that impressive to me. Let me tell you how impressive. Let me tell you how impressive Louisville is to Las Vegas and the sportsbook people. All right.
Yep.
They're playing Miami, who has like 4 losses, like 6-4. They're playing Miami in Miami this weekend, and Louisville is a top 10 team, and they're an underdog.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
They're an underdog, and they're a top 10 team.
I will say this, though. How awesome would it be if we go into Louisville while they're having the season of their life and we still beat them? Now that would be glorious.
Absolutely.
I would love that. And it's entirely possible. 2 things here, and then we'll kind of wrap up here. Jeremy says, I hope y'all are right. UK football has been so disappointing this season because a lot of us were really hyped about the season. I agree, Jeremy. I think part of the disappointment from the fan base is that those losses came consecutively. You spread out those losses, I think people feel a little bit differently about the year, but it was hard to dig out of the hole that
I knew before the season started that our schedule was kind of stacked up like that.
Yeah. Right. I think a lot of people did. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
I think we thought we beat Missouri.
The season started. Our schedule was kind of stacked up like that. And, I knew that we were probably going to go through a stretch where we lost at least 3 out of 5, maybe not 4 out of 5, but at least 3 out of 5, probably. Just looking at the teams that we played. I mean, heck, it was Georgia and Alabama and Tennessee, and you know what I mean? Like, just looking at the stretch that we played. I mean, I'm including the away game at Mississippi State in that too, because we hadn't beat them since like 2008 at Mississippi State. So, I'm including that in there too.
Jeremy said it didn't help matters with Stoops' comments after the Georgia loss. No, that certainly didn't.
I think a whole lot of that was frustration. I mean, I really do. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm sure.
And everybody, gets that way every once in a while. And I'm sure he had a little bit of frustration after going down there and getting his ass handed to him, just to be honest with you.
Well, who wouldn't? Mike Dowd says you guys want to see Leary back next season, which there's been some speculation that I guess he could come back.
Absolutely. I think to have a year 2 with him in the system, and
I think that'd be significant.
And to learn and to be ready with the same receivers, because Barry and Brown's going to be back unless these guys transfer. But Barry and Brown's going to be back, and
they'll be back.
You know
Nobody's
what I mean?
transferring.
Like, so I mean, if they could have that rapport and a second year to learn from, I mean, it would be fantastic. I think we would see a mass improvement next year if he could come back. Now, he has to apply for a medical red shirt for that to happen, and the NCAA has to approve it. And the reason why that is in 2020, he was hurt and only played in 4 games. And technically, if you only play in 4 games, you can get a red shirt. But since he is already using his COVID year this year, he would have to apply for a medical red shirt to get that red shirt. He should technically get it since he only played four games.
Well, guys, thanks for checking us out tonight. We really appreciate it. We appreciate you being on here with us. It means a lot that you guys watch because we can't do this without y'all. Be sure to subscribe to us on all the things. We're on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Facebook, and all the things. Be sure to follow Brad on all of the above as well. He's
on an hour, guys. Like I said, you can follow me on my YouTube or Facebook, either one. And College Sportscast will be on in an hour. We're doing our College Sportscast Game Day Pick'ems. It's where I've got 9 football games scheduled to talk about and pick, and I've also got 6 college basketball games that are scheduled for tomorrow night. That we're going to talk about. We use DraftKings and we use spreads. So it's kind of a betting type deal thing too, where you can, get some advice about spreads and games and stuff like that. So we have a little fun. That's what we do on Thursday nights, except we won't be doing it next Thursday night because Thursday
Thanksgiving. Well, and speaking of that, we go live. Brad and I will resume our Kentucky football postgame shows this Saturday after the South Carolina game. We go live here on Talk Kentucky with my normal co-host Caden every Thursday night. We won't go live next Thursday night because it's Thanksgiving. Everybody have a good Thanksgiving. So be sure to come back, check us out, and we got Talkin' Kentucky merch now. We've got a little merch store. The link is pinned to the top of our Facebook page. You can go, get all kinds of things. Josh's sticker that doesn't come off his car when it goes through the car wash. It's high quality stuff here that we're dealing with. So, I think the last thing we got to do is we got to name this episode, Brad. Talking Frustration is a good is a good name. We could do Talking Tolerance. It is the International Day of Tolerance, and you got the alliteration there.
That's a good one. I will say it's a good one, but my tolerance level is kind of low.
Well, I feel like we've got enough. Clyde probably has enough tolerance for all of us here.
Yeah.
So maybe that's good. But
I do have a quick update that I want to put out there. So there are rumors today that Bradshaw he's going to come back. He's going to be ready to play and come back at the Marshall game, which is the 24th of November, which is 8 days away.
Oh, okay. I think right. I think I did see that floating around Twitter. I'm going to go ahead and say I don't believe anything that is put out there about anybody.
I said it's rumors. I'm not saying it's for sure. I'm just saying it's rumors.
No, I did see that. No, you're right. So we'll just throw that out there.
The second thing that I want to say is somebody was asking about Big Z. So they were supposed to have 45 days to make a decision. The 45 days should be coming up pretty darn soon. It depends on if they go by when he was actually enrolled or when he actually flew in and showed up. So if he goes by when he was enrolled, it should be in a day or two. If it goes by when he showed up, it'll be about a week later. They got about 8 or 9, 10 days. So we should know within the next 8 or 9 days if he's going to be cleared or no.
If he's going to be cleared,
according to NCAA's own rule. I just want to put that out there.
Well, hopefully we get Big Z back. Hopefully we get Bradshaw. Hopefully get all the guys back, and that would make for a good Thanksgiving. So thank you guys very much. Go subscribe and
Jeremy.
like and do
That's
all
a
the
funny
things. What
comment,
Jeremy
Jeremy.
say here? Well,
That's a funny
let's see.
comment.
What did you all see? Jesse Calipari on Pawn Stars. He said his autograph is worth $15. Yeah, that's pretty funny. That is pretty funny. That is well done. That is the Jeremy killing it with the comments here. Jeremy, thanks for joining us tonight. You're a new face in the comments, at least for me here. So I hope to see you back. We go live every Thursday night. But thank you guys very much. Really appreciate it. And happy Thanksgiving to you all. And we will see you on Saturday after the South Carolina game for our post-game show. What will hopefully be a victorious speech. And Shane Beamer can go kick another brick wall and break his other foot. So for Coleman Scott, for Brad Harvey, this has been episode number 77, Talking Tolerance is what we said of Talking Kentucky. And we will see you guys next time. Go Cats.
Go Cats.